folks, welcome back. I'm Shannon Levin, your friendly librarian, and I'm back with some book love, so let's chat. It's August 1st. That is insane, but the perfect day to film so that I can catch you up on what I've read since the last time I've talked to you, and that will be during the month of July. I'll check my date. Pretty sure the last time I filmed was in June, and I think I didn't even get that video out until like last week or 2 weeks ago. By the time I got it edited, and it's been a crazy summer in a really good way. But yeah, so this will give me a chance to get you caught up on what I read during the month of July, give you some reviews and recommendations, even though in that last video I told you that I watched a YouTuber that said that people don't watch YouTube for book reviews. So I'll just give you a gentle reminder. We are here for book chatter, not necessarily just book reviews. And I don't even know that what I'm doing book reviews. I don't know. That's why I call it book chatter. I talk to you about the books that I've read. I tell you a little bit about them. I may or may not recommend them to you. Is that a review? Maybe it is. I always like to tell you, like, hey, here's what you should be looking for. Here's what's coming out by authors that I've talked about in the past. Here are some of the books that we've talked about in the past that are becoming movies or ones I need to get read, Women in Cabin 10, before the end of the month because it's coming out in an adaptation. And then my book hauls, I like to just show you like, hey, here's what I'm adding to my library or what I might be getting rid of. Little bookish gifts or bookish things like my t-shirt. I'm aware it's a skeleton and it's August, but it says reading isn't dead. And I can't remember where I got it. So if that comes back to me, I'll let you know. If not, I'll link it in the show notes at the end here. But I know it was one of those that I'm like, I have to have that. I think I bought it at a festival back in the spring, maybe. Pretty sure that might be right, but hopefully I wrote it down somewhere. I will tell you right off the bat that I am reading a book, nonfiction, that I think every human being should read. I would say high school through, but definitely if you are parenting, grandparenting, if you're an educator, if you have any kind of an influence over young children and young teens, you need to read this book. So I took the cover off, so that's not going to be helpful to you, but it's called The Anxious Generation. It is by Jonathan Haidt. Haidt? I'm not sure if that's right or not. It's insanely troubling, educational, and I'm even going to say inspirational because it tells me a lot of what I already know, but it tells me the why behind it and the importance. It's so good. It's so good. So I'm just going to tell you right away. I'm reading that. I'm reading it with a group of educators for a book study that I thought I needed graduate credits for, and I don't, but I continue doing it because it is that good. God, I'll talk to you a lot about that one, but not yet because I'm not quite finished. I'm on chapter 8, I think, of maybe 13 or 14, but we're getting there. But let me take a break, as I always do, clean off the desk, and then talk to you about the books that I've read in July, which I don't own hardly any of them, so I'm not going to be very visual in this first part. But I will be when it comes to book haul. This is my currently reading stack, so we don't usually talk very much about that stack, but I'll move that off. And then I have an event this evening, and so I'm picking up my mother. She goes with me on these things. She's part of a lot of the same groups that I am. It's a rubber stamp convention. I know, who would have thought, right? But we make cards and cute little things. I'm looking to see, like, we made this, you know, little paperweight, but that doesn't have a stamp in it, so that doesn't really help you, but whatever. Oh, I know. So I just hosted the ladies on Sunday, and this was the little gift that I left at each of their tables. It's a little lip balm, and you pierce it and then beat it. So it's that kind of crafting that we do. But that's tonight. I told my mom I would pick her up at noon so that we could drop off. I have my car packed down with donation books, trying to cull the collection and work on that one that my friend's mother got put into care, and he asked me to take care of her library. So I have gone through that. I've given a lot to Free Little Libraries. I kept a couple of Agatha Christie's and probably a stack, I would say, of religious books that to me look like they would be very interesting. And then I have a whole carload that I'm taking to the Cincinnati Book Warehouse, Friends of the Public Library, because I think that would be a great place to give those to. So I have to do that and run around a little bit. There's a thrift store over there by that book warehouse that I know I've recommended that book warehouse to you if you're in the Cincinnati area, but there's a thrift store close by that I just saw the last time I was there, and I've not been there, so I don't know. We'll check it out. And then my mom and I are going to run around a little bit before we meet all of the ladies that normally go to this event tonight. It's at the Sharonville Convention Center. It's going to be done by the time I get this video out, but it's every year. I've been going. My son is 27, and I've gone since he was born. So it's been a long time we've gone to this convention every fall at Sharonville Convention Center. And so we're going to run around a little bit before that and go to dinner with all these ladies that are going tonight to that event. All right. So give me a minute to clean off the desk. The podcast that I'm currently listening to is not one that I listen to very much. I think I have listened to it before. I'm trying to see if I can get to it. Wild Man of the Woods. It's a Sasquatch one. They have good shorts, but then whenever you click on the videos, those are longer, which I can't even say anything about long videos, right? But I can just listen to them. I don't have to watch them. But they have several that are Ohio-based Sasquatch ones, so I thought that might be interesting. So we'll try, see what we think. But that's the one I'm listening to in the off time here. I am drinking, what was it? It's a pre-made cappuccino mix that I've had, and I'm just trying to, make it through what I own before I buy more coffee, tea, etc. And I'm working on it. I don't love it, so I probably will take it to school and see if somebody wants to take it from there. But it's a cappuccino mix. That's what I'm drinking today, knowing that I'm going to be out and about and probably be able to find a new coffee shop today. All right, give me a minute. All right, so let's start off by changing our calendar here. So the last time I sat here and filmed, it was Friday, July 11th. And like I said, today is the 1st. Interesting. It is Friday, so we get to leave that one. And changing to August, leaving the one and changing the other. So we are Friday, August 1st. So throwing that out there, and then we'll light our candle as I remember. This is episode 64. And I think in the last episode, episode 63, I forgot to light the candle forever. Okay, so we did pick up a new candle. Do not recommend. It's called Reading Light. It's Let the Reading Begin. It's a soy blend. It is by Think Inc. It's teak and tobacco, which is one of my favorites. It's from Target. And when you smell it like that, it's exactly what I want. However, unless whenever I'm burning it today with you, unless it changes my mind, it's not enough. It's not enough. I don't know, it just doesn't permeate the room like I want it to, right? I did find these awesome matches where, I don't know, Walmart? Pretty sure it was Walmart. So, I'm always looking for matches when we're over here, so I was like, oh, that's cool, we'll do that. So we'll see. Maybe it changes my mind. I love it. It's back in the, let's try not to set the library on fire. It was back in the book section at Target, if you know what I'm talking about. They've got a little book section, but right now they have, a shelf that's for book lovers. So they'll have candles. They have a book, reading journal. They have bookish stickers that I've showed you before. So kudos to Target. I'm really glad they're doing that. I think it's really cool. But the candle, just lackluster the last time I burned it. So we'll do it today and then I'll give you an update. How's that? All right, I also have this little guy, and I sat him over here so I would remember to show you at the Columbus Book Festival that I told you about last video and in numerous videos for the past 3-ish years. Highly recommend, usually during July. So put it on your calendar for next year. Start following them on Facebook. But they, in their little friends bookshop there at the library, I purchased this. Yes, I'm aware it looks like a children's one, and it probably is, but it says all the cool kids are reading, and it's etched in there, and it's this iridescent pink. And it's just a great little size. And my kids love stuff like that. When I say my kids, I mean my students in high school. They love little quirky stuff like that. So I think that's gonna be a winner. And just a really good size in the morning whenever I'm trying to drink cold tea, which I often do. If I've had my hot coffee in the morning and then I'm headed to work, I'll pour in some tea. So there's that. All right, let's get this party started. So it is almost 9 o'clock, and like I said, I have to pick my mom up at noon, which means I leave here about 11:30-ish. So 10, 11, I've got 2.5 hours. I want to film this video. I would like to get started on my Agatha video, but we'll see how it goes. I did pull this back up whenever I was moving stuff around. I've shown you this before, and I just highly recommend it. It's from Pippi Post. It's 52 weeks of book quotes. It's a desk flip calendar. My sister got it for me, so it looks like this. But today's bookish quote is, "I'd far rather be happy than right any day." And it's by Douglas Adams, which the End of the Universe series, I love that series. It's so quirky, and they've had numerous adaptations. It's a good one to recommend to freshman boys for sure, but I just really like it. Last video, I also told you about this, but I don't think I brought it over and showed it to you. So it is Not Today, Murder, a Party Game. A game about escaping certain death in the funniest way possible. Haven't played it yet, so I'll have to give you a review once I get some people to play it with me. My husband said, okay, yeah, we'll see. And then I don't even know how to describe to you how we are in the summer. And we're both like this, so I guess it works. We're just constantly busy. We're constantly busy. Like today, like I said, I'm leaving at noon. I probably won't be home till midnight. My husband works for a company. He's a teacher also, but he works for a company in the summers. But it's sporadic in how they work or the hours that they work. And yesterday and today, he's helping the guy sod the yard in his house because he has a son that's getting ready to get married. And so he left later than usual this morning, but then he's getting ready to go fishing on Lake Sinclair in Michigan for the next couple of days. So we just stay constantly busy pretty much all the time, but especially in the summer whenever our schedules allow us to travel more or to run around and we're not like exhausted from teaching all day. We run around a lot. So when things calm down, then I'm sure we will sit down and play Not Today, Murder. And I'll give you an update. So I was watching, again, YouTube's Killing Time with Cozy's video, and they were talking about the newbie tag for YouTubers. I don't know. So I'm just gonna say it and then we can see, and maybe I'll change my mind. But they were like, if you never used the newbie tag, go ahead and use it and put it out there. I don't know about that. I feel like I could still say I'm a newbie, even though I've been doing this for 4-ish years. Once a month or so, sometimes more, sometimes less, usually less. And I have, 400 followers. My last video has under 100 views. So I think that probably still counts maybe as a newbie. But I'll just use it as my newbie book tag, and then if you are here and you see that and you're like, oh, then I'll go back and watch one of your earlier videos, then that might work, or watch my introduction videos so you can kind of find out a little bit more about me there. But I thought, you know what, Mitt, I'll put it in there and then you can decide if you think that that's for the newbie tag or not. Maybe. Okay, so we'll throw that in there and then I'll make a decision later, because I was still like, I don't know. But they're like, if you've never used it, use it so people can follow your channel. They can find you. They follow that newbie tag. Okay. All right, with it being August 1st, it is nice this time that I get to talk to you about all of the books that I've read during the month of July. The last time that I filmed, I only covered one book that I had finished in the month of July. And technically, I had been reading that one for the last at least year, if not more. But it was a perfectly kept home. A Perfectly Kept House is the Sign of a Misspent Life, by Mary Randolph Carter. I talked to you about that one in the last video, but that's the only book from July that I talked to you about in the last one. So we'll throw that out there. That was my number 49 of the year. And, now that we're at August, we are through half. I need to be farther than that, but it's okay because I have lots of other books. I'm getting a big glare off my glasses, so I'll put them up for you. It's not like I really need to see anyway, right? But I need to be further than that. There are several books that I will finish by the end of the year, and I have a lot going on right now. So I'm not concerned that I'm not going to meet my Goodreads goal of 102, I think it is. I know that I'm gonna ramp that up. I do read probably more in the fall than I do in the spring or the summer. I usually listen to more than I've been listening to this summer, but podcasts have kept me pretty busy too. So I don't know, it is what it is, right? So the first one I need to talk to you about finishing since last time I talked to you was this, Agatha Christie. Shock and surprise that she's gonna start us off today, but it's Funerals Are Fatal. I really want you to see that picture on the front where it looks like a coffin. The British title was After the Funeral, The Case of the Killer Who Couldn't Stop Talking, and They Give Themselves Away. This was a fun one. I have lots of annotations in this one because there were lots of quotable lines and lots of things that I thought were cluing you in to telling you who the murderer was. So it's not one that you would guess right off the bat. We already had our book discussion on this one. My Agathas meet again this Friday night, I think. Yes, a week from today, my Agathas meet, so I need to read Pocket Full of Rye, I think is our next one. But this was a good one. It was a good read. Lots of the Agatha hallmarks that are in there. If you like Agatha Christie talk, that's my next video that I plan to make, is to walk you through those, because you can't really see, but I cleaned off the very top shelf up there. I'm going to rework this a little bit, and I'm going to put Agathas on the top because most of my Agatha copies are this size. Trade paperbacks, I think, are what these are called. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, and feel free to correct me, because I don't know why I can never wrap my head around all those types of books. But they're going to be good for there. And Agatha Christie, I usually go by Agatha, not so much Christie, if I'm going to do alphabetical order on my shelves anyway. So I'm going to put her up there on the top. The cast of characters in this one is a fun one. You have a gathering of the family for the reading of the will. It doesn't go as planned. You have some quirky characters. You have multiple deaths. You have, money grab people. Lots of red herrings. This one has a grisly murder in it, which isn't very Agatha, honestly. I enjoyed annotating this one. If you're someone who enjoys the process of annotations, I enjoyed annotating this one, marking out things like tone, the introduction of characters. Characterization is ridiculous in this one. Agatha's description of characters was just phenomenal. But highly recommend, if you've never read an Agatha, this is a good one. And if you do like Agatha, also, this is a good one. Funerals Are Fatal. That's my 50th this year. That is our 57th Agatha in reading in chronological order, and our 33rd Hercule Poirot. Okay, the next one that I read, when we're talking about Agatha, I do always ask, which one are you more prone to, or which one are you more drawn to, Hercule or Miss Marple? I'm still a Hercule Poirot fan more than a Marple. I don't feel like we know Marple as well as we should yet. I also listen to the audio and watch the adaptations, which are well done. This one does have some of those book features in it, like a cast of characters. Here we go. And a family tree. And the family tree also denotes the people that were at the funeral, because yes, it makes a difference. It was a good conversation about who we suspected and why, and when we figured out what was going on. All right, my next read, like I said, I do not have a regular copy, but it's part of that series that I'm highly recommending to you. G.M. Malliet, Devil's Breath, the Max Tudor books. This is book 6. I love this series. It's a great audio. However, as much as I appreciate the audio and I enjoy it, I always wish I had the book in front of me, because it's a heavy mystery. And I don't know, it's just so in depth that I think it would be easier to follow and maybe more enjoyable. Here's what I really want to do. Here's what I want to do with my next Malliet. I want to be reading it in print and then go back and review using the audio, because I love the narrator on this one. I think that would be the ideal way to experience Malliet, but I don't have the print books, and I feel like my library doesn't even carry them, but that I should check that. I'm gonna write that down right now. And knowing that I'm going to the Cincinnati Book Warehouse today, I'll check there, but I feel like I checked there when we were there last week and they didn't have any Malliets. I haven't seen a lot of physical copies. I have a couple of the back copies, but not a lot. But this is one of my very top modern mystery series, for sure. I love Returning to Nether Monk Slip. It's an awesome setting, very cozy. This is not a cozy mystery series, but it's a very cozy setting. This particular one, though, Devil's Breath, the number 6, it's in an adjacent community, so you're not in Nether's Monk Slip. He talks to his wife, but I think that's pretty much the only taste of Nether Monk Slip that you get. But Tudor is called into service, and I don't know if you remember, I don't know what video it was that I talked to you last about him, but he, at the end of the last book, I was a little worried at how things were gonna shake out for Max Tudor. I was afraid they were hinting that, because I can't remember GM Malliet, I can't remember if it's he or she, but I was afraid that they were hinting that there were going to be some big changes. So I was relieved to find out that he is still trying to help the police, because remember, he's not a policeman. He is a, I don't know what he's called. I can't remember. Father? I don't know if they call him father. I can't remember what they call him, but he's a man of the cloth. And so this is not his regular job, and his wife was put in jeopardy in the last book, and he just wasn't sure how he was going to proceed. So because he gets married and has a child, it changes the family dynamic a bit. So I was a little concerned how this is going to, move forward, but it does move forward. Marriage and fatherhood do come up quite a bit in the book, but it doesn't change the story. It's more of a sideways story. I just love the smooth humor in this book. It's not what you would call a humorous book, but there are humorous lines. The slice of life comments are just awesome in this one. I think that's another thing that I just really like about it. It's very next door kind of mystery. It's very clever. Max Tudor is one of my all-time favorite characters. I started these out of order, and then I went back and started at the beginning because I'm like, this is a series I want to know more about. So if you listen to them or read them in order, it's Wicked Autumn. So what a perfect time for you to start this series. Wicked Autumn is number 1. A Fatal Winter is number 2. Pagan Spring is number 3. Demon Summer is number 4. Haunted Season is number 5. And now Devil's Breath is number 6. So the next one is Prior's Wood, which is number 7. So I will do that in the fall. And then number 8, The Washing Away of Wrongs. And then I'll be caught up. So maybe by the end of the year, I think I will be caught up on this series. I could re-listen to these every year though. I mean, the audios are just, they're candy. There is a bit of language, but nothing much. So that was my 51st read this year, and I mean, I just love this series. I highly recommend it. All right, the next one, I think it's the next 2. Honestly, this is probably one of my slowest reading months. I don't know what happened that it was so slow, but it really was. Guess I just was really, really busy, and I did listen to a lot of podcasts while I was cleaning and working around the house, and then I just ran around a lot. Whatever, July, that's what it's made for, right? But this next one was really surprising. So Red, White, and Royal Blue, a novel by Casey McQuiston, I think that's how you say it. I mean, just surprising. It was really surprising for me. I knew it was same-sex romance. I knew that, right? I think even, if you don't know when you first open it, it's going to tell you right here, right? But then I also knew this title was out there quite a bit, and I saw last summer, I think, that it was made into a movie, so I started watching the movie, so I know it from that. But then I didn't finish watching the movie because I decided I really wanted to stop and read the book and then watch the movie. So now I'm going to watch the movie. So I knew it was same-sex romance. But I wasn't sure if I was going to really want to read that or enjoy reading that. And I did. I will read now more Casey McQuiston, which I think I have some more. Do I? Do I have it on here? I don't have it on here. If I do have more, I don't have it marked on here, so I'll have to look. But it was just so surprisingly well done. The banter between the two guys is spot on. Loved it. It happens between text messaging, which plays a bigger part in the latter part of the story. But I don't know, I like that kind of banter between any couple. So I don't know why I'm so surprised that I liked it in this one. The characterization, both of the characters are not flat at all. They're very well developed, different, and just, they come off the page. I mean, you feel like you are getting to know them in person. Their family, maybe, okay, not so much Henry's, but Alex's family, Alex's core group, his friends, is it a senator, Luna? They all feel like real developed characters. The plot is fabulous. I know like halfway in, I'm getting a little nervous because I'm like, this is not going to end well. There's no way for this to end well, but it's great. It's fabulous. It's realistic and good. My sister, I was reading it in the pool and she made a big splash, and so I've got a little water damage, but I think it's dried out. I don't think we're gonna mold. If so, I'm gonna pop her in the nose. I did a little bit of annotation on this one, but not much, but it was one of those that I did have to stop a couple of times, go back, and this is where it would be helpful if when you're reading, if you, like I like to put squares around my characters when they're introduced. And then anytime you get a big characterization, like section, I'll mark that so that I can come back to it. Because several times somebody was mentioned and I'm like, wait a minute, who are they? How did they come into the story? So it was really good for that. Highly recommend. So if we're looking for, video book reviews and I'm reviewing this one, I'm also definitely recommending it. This, I would say, almost 5-star for me. I don't know what would keep it from being a 5-star, but almost 5-star for me. Not my usual romance read. Highly enjoyed it. I don't know what my regular romance read would be anyway. I'm not a big romance reader. I'm trying to read more of it because it is more common, more modern reading. It's what a lot of people read. So when I'm talking about books, it's easy to have recommendations for those or be a part of the conversation, which is just what I want to be as part of the conversation. It is surprisingly appropriate for July 4th. So if you make a reading calendar ahead of time, read this for July 4th of next year. Read it like at the end of June. It's definitely a hate to love trope, but it's a trope well done. I enjoy the pop culture in this. That is why I have enjoyed incorporating more modern fiction into my reading, is the pop culture that comes out. I like that it keeps me current, keeps me guessing. I look things up because I'm like, what is that? What do they mean? This one, you've got a group of 20-somethings, so they do use phrases that from time to time I had to stop and think about what that meant or look it up or ask. It does flip the American way that it is a female president. Alex, the main character, his mom is president of the United States. It's a multicultural White House, which is very fresh and entertaining. I loved all the first family and the royal family chatter. The plot twist is exceptional toward the end, and I don't just mean the relationship between Henry and Alex, but Alex's relationship with other people. There's a huge plot twist at the end, and the way that she goes about because again, I'm not sure, Casey. I think Casey is she, but I'm not sure. So I'm just gonna say they. The way that they pull that plot twist in at the end and then explain why decisions were made. Chef's kiss. So good. I will definitely read more Casey McQuiston. So that would be number 52, book of the year. The next one, I don't have a book for this one either, but, or I don't have a book for this one either, yeah. But it is Margo's Got Money Troubles. This is my number 53 read for the year. It is by Ruthie Thorpe. I read it because I've had this book recommended to me, but honestly, recommended to me more by influencers than people who know me. But I think my cousin Deb read this and my sister read this. I know my sister recommended it to me, but when I started listening to it, because that's what I did was the audio version, and it's what's her name? Elle Fanning, who now is going to play in the adaptation of it, which is so good. But when I started listening to it, I just couldn't get into it. And I just kept thinking, I just don't think it's a book for me. Like, I don't think this is funny. I don't think this is entertaining. I'm not intrigued by this. Hold on. I don't know at what point actually that it changed. I just know that I picked it up, didn't love it, let it sit there for a long time, would come back to it. A big thing for me is how much I give up other things in order to read or listen to something. Tells me if I like a book, and that wasn't happening for me in the first, I don't know, couple of hours maybe of the book. And then I just kept thinking about it. I just kept thinking about it. So I went back and I'm like, I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try it again. So I went back, I reviewed, I picked it back up, and then the more I listened to it, the more I'm just like, it was making me think. And that is what I love about this book. So this is another, I call it an almost 5-star instead of a 4-star. It's almost 5-star for me. There were so many times that Margo said something that I felt like I had underestimated her. I felt like that I had, like others, judged her or put her in a box that she did not belong in. And she showed me why. I love books. It's one of my favorite things is when I'm reading a book and the character comes of age, finds their people, discovers themselves. That's like my favorite probably kind of book. But in this book, it's one of those where the character causes you to do all those things. So Margo questioned me. Through her questioning of other characters or responding to other characters when something would go on, I felt guilty. Because she's right. We judge. I'm not even going to call it judging. I do, often in class I say, okay, Mr. McJudgy Pants. But in this section, I think I was a McJudger Pants. I don't know. She just made me think. And if there's one thing that I can tell you, the benefit of reading is that it makes you think. It makes you get out of your little box and how you think about things, and it makes you consider that there are other perspectives. People have other experiences. People make choices for other reasons than you say, well, they shouldn't have done that because, right? No, it doesn't work that way. We all have different experiences. So I think towards the end, I put a little list out there. Yeah. I thought I was going to read a really funny, quirky novel, and I did, but it was one that made me rethink my and society's attitude about a lot of things. And here's my list. Minimum wage workers, accidental pregnancy, welfare, single moms, OnlyFans. I can't believe I'm this far into telling you about this book without saying the word OnlyFans. Children's Protective Services, parenting, both Margo's parenting and her mother's and her father's. There are, all three of those vastly different parenting techniques that really made you think. Community support, friendships. I could go on and on. There's so much that is covered in this book. I am really looking forward to how they're going to do the adaptation for it. I did see that Elle Fanning is going to be Margo in the adaptations, which makes sense because her voice now is Margo for me anyway. I would recommend it in that format. I wonder if you read the print, and if you know any of these, like this could be a conversation, feel free to message me. Please let me know. I wonder if I would have had the same experience if I was reading the print book. I'm not sure, but the audio was just perfect. It's so far out of my comfort zone or what I think I want to read a book about. OnlyFans? No, thank you. Pornography in any fashion? No. But even speaking about that, you're like, are we speaking about that? This book, I just read the chapter this morning, The Anxious Generation. I think one of the reasons why I think this book needs to be read by everybody is it doesn't just poo-poo everything that it's giving you studies and science on, like online gaming, social media, pornography. It doesn't just say, check yes or no. It shows you where there's that gray area, where here's the reason behind people turn to these things. Here are, I'm not even going to say benefits, but like, you're going to have to find a way to have a conversation and not just a list of do or don'ts. When it comes to social media, online gaming, pornography, any of those things, right? And if at this point you need to just turn off my video, I get it, because I don't know. I don't think I thought that's what I thought. But Margo changed my mind about that to where it's just like, it needs to be more of a conversation and not a list of do or don't. I think that's it. Okay, I'm gonna just leave that there. But I loved it. I think when I first started reading it, I just thought it was so ridiculous, right? And it wasn't entertaining for me. But the more I got to know Margo and the more I heard about her journey and her story and how she was making things work, I just needed to know if it was going to work for her or not. I needed to know that she was going to be okay. The baby, what's his name? Bodhi, I think. You don't get to know him at all. Like, he is in the story. You know how like when you're watching Friends and once somebody had a baby, you were like, where's the baby? The baby is never there. The baby's a part of the story, but not there. It's kind of like that. At one point, Margo is talking about Jellybean, who is someone online that she converses with, and she says, he was a puzzling mix of traits. And I had to stop and think, that's exactly why I'm liking this book about Margo. She's puzzling. She's more than I expected. She's more complicated than I expected, and she's more intelligent than I expected. And again, just breaking some of those things that I thought I knew how I felt about people. Loved it. Number 53, highly, highly recommend. Margo's Got Money Troubles. Read it before the series comes out. Apple TV is who picked it up, and it's supposed to premiere in 2026 with Elle Fanning and Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman's probably going to play her mother, and she'll make a great terrible mother on television. And my last one, number 54, which I just added last night at like the 9th hour, was finishing the radio production of The Hobbit. It's on my phone, so let me see. Okay, Stella's gonna go out, so this is a good time for me to let her out too. So if you'll remember, in one of my last couple of videos, I told you I was giving up on The Hobbit. I had already read The Hobbit years and years ago, but I was using it for our like all read for last year's freshmen. Man, the glare on my glasses is terrible, isn't it? And we read the first chapter together, part of the second chapter, I think I read to them. They annotated some, but it just, I don't know. It was just like 50-50, the ones who liked it and then ones that were just very vocally against it. And this is why I don't like to do all one read. I had to get myself something to drink when we were up because my other drink is empty. That's just Diet Mountain Dew. And just because we have it left over from taking it to a function. I don't normally drink Diet Mountain Dew. Don't know why I feel like I need to make excuses for that. But you know, I downloaded several of the online versions and then I gave them up. But I kept coming back to this one because it was so good. I'm trying to find you the information. There are so many versions of The Hobbit. This is the BBC, the classic BBC radio production. Stella's back in. Narrated by Heron Carvick, Paul Daneman, Anthony Jackson, Francis DeWolf, John Justin, John Paulin. It has a full cast. It is 4 hours long. So that's the last one that I actually added. And like I said, I've already read it. I understand that's abridged when you say 4 hours. I listened to some of the other one, which was like 10 hours, but I'm done. I enjoyed it, but I'm done. So there is that. Big news that I did not mention, my free little library, my little free library finally got installed. We got it painted. We had to like clean it, paint it, clean it again. And before I could even get over there to stock it, someone stopped by and put 6 or 7 books in there. So thank you, whoever that is. And then I created the Instagram page for it. So I'll see if I can link that here. I think I can, or up here maybe. Up here, I can't remember which way it goes. I shared it via our Facebook community page, and immediately people started commenting. And then I went back to put the bookmarks with the Instagram and the QR code in there, and someone had dropped off more books. So it's just, I love it. It's everything I wanted. So I'm so looking forward to just curating that, stopping as much as I can, and then at least once a week taking the picture of what's in there and throwing it onto the Instagram and the community page to have people come by and visit. So super excited about that. I'll share some pictures, and then if you want to follow along on the journey, I will make sure to give you the Instagram. The Instagram, if you just want it now, is LF Library Lorelei East Beach, because East Beach is there, this is Cove C, and that's where it was installed, was across from me and down a little bit. All right, so moving on, that's what I've read since the last time I talked to you. I should mention I'm still making my way through this book, this Sometimes Magic, a collection of outstanding stories for the teenage girl. I'm reading this with my cousin for Short Story Sunday. She's not reading this. She's doing other short stories, but every Sunday we're posting a few that we try. And this has not been what I expected at all. It's interesting. I'm going to give you the page here. So One Morning in June, Mavis Gallant, The Echo and the Nemesis, Jean Stafford, The Waltz by Dorothy Parker. That was one of the names that made me pick this up. White as Snow, Kate Boyle, Barbara on the Beach, Edna St. Vincent Millay, another big name. The Calling, B.J. Chute, Taking the Veil, Catherine Mansfield, F. Jasmine Carson McCullers, again, big names. My Life with R.H. Macy by Shirley Jackson. That's been my favorite so far. And then this past week, I read and posted The Flesh by Elizabeth Bowen, A White Heron by Sarah Orne Jewett, and Professor Bauer by Louisa May Alcott, which reads just like Louisa May Alcott, but I'm not a big fan or reader of Louisa May Alcott. So, oh wait, and You'll Enjoy It When You Get There by Elizabeth Taylor. So, during the month of August, I plan to finish this for Short Story Sunday and move on to something else. Probably Poe. I think I'll do Poe's short stories next. I think that's my game plan, but that's what I've been reading. When I was in Florida, I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but I picked up I picked up my cousin's copy of Slightly Foxed. It's a quarterly reader's notebook. I know that they also sell them at the Book Bus, Cincinnati Book Bus, which is an independent bookstore here, and I'll be over in that area today, so probably going to stop in there and leaf through it. If so, I'll try and get a picture of it to put up here for you. In book news, I wanted to mention what Dan read. The Cincinnati Public Library actually, I don't know if they shared it or somehow it came across my feed. A man named Dan, I don't know. a man named Dan passed away last month in the state of Ohio, and his children in his obituary said Dan was a huge reader. He kept a list of all the books that Dan read. It was 100 pages long. They wanted to print it and pass it out at the funeral, but it would have been way too much paper. But they, talked about what a big reader he was, what a big library user he was. Cincinnati Public Library was his Columbus Public Library was his library, and that they wanted to make his list available to others so that you could see all the books that Dan read, how wide and varied his list was, and that you would honor Dan by reading, I think it was a really great book, I think is the phrase that they used. But I shared that on social media, and then it did go viral. There are several, not mine sharing, but like the whole thing went viral, his obituary, and then Columbus Public Library reposted it. And then within the last month, they pulled all of his books, which maybe 3,000, 2,500, something like that. They pulled all of his books and made a display at the Columbus Public Library. They also put the list online. You can go to Columbus Public Library's site and find what Dan read, and look at the list from there. So find some inspiration. Dan, we appreciate and we honor you by reading really great books. But if you've not seen that whole thing online, search it up, and I'll leave you some links there too. I did go to school. We actually had a funeral. Speaking of funerals, we had actually a visitation Thursday evening for a friend's brother. So we went to that, and my husband had open gym for girls basketball after that. So I just went to school and worked in my classroom. And I pulled the 2 Dan Brown books that we have on the shelf to book talk the first weeks of school, because there is a new Dan Brown novel coming out. And I'm trying to catch up with that series before that comes up too. So just throwing it out there. I've read the Robert Langdon series. The first one, Angels and Demons. The second one, Da Vinci Code. The third one, The Lost Symbol. And the fourth one, Inferno. So I need to do Origins. That's my next one to read, to get caught up on that. There may be even more than that, but I know I own Origins wherever it's at. I'm going to pull that and put it on the short list. So that's my other vision for the Librarian here. I thought I would get more done this summer, But like I said, right out of view, all the way at the top, I took the books off of that, and that's where the Agathas will go. But I thought that I would do like Agatha's Book of the Month Club, some children's books that I have, cozy mysteries, but somewhere in here, or maybe over here, maybe it'll be over here. I would like to reserve one of these shelves for like the short list or the currently reading. Right now, my currently reading usually sits right here in a stack, and the short list is kind of under here that you don't see. And there's some that I've like been reading, they've already been started, and they're over there. So kind of working through there, but I've always been very honest. If you could see the whole picture of the library, there are books everywhere. I have books on the shelves, books under the table, books on this chair, books over here on the floor, books piled up here on the floor. Like, it's not a showroom for me. I mean, it is if a showroom to you is a workable showroom. That's what I have. In other bookish news, I also just wanted to mention, someone said this and I thought, oh, okay, that makes sense to me. I've recommended to you Abby Jimenez, and in the last video I talked quite a bit about her. Her books are not, she does have some series books, but I think the word that I heard that I'm like, that makes way more sense. They were called interconnected books. So it's not a series that you have to read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chronologically, but it's an interconnected series. So when you read one, you're going to read about characters that are in other books and the main stars in the other books, and vice versa, until when you read all of her books, they go together. They're interconnected. And I wanted to mention that because I don't know that I knew that term when I was talking to you about her from last month. also wanted to ask if anybody has been using Thrift books to try and sell their books. They were at the Columbus Book Festival and I picked up a pamphlet. Some of the books that I was, giving to the Cincinnati Warehouse today, I scanned just to see how that would work. But a lot of the ladies' books that I am trying to find a good home for, they're not like today's books that you flip around and they have an ISBN on the back, right? And I think that's what Thrift books is probably for. But let's just try for a minute, right? So I downloaded the app somewhere. Here we go. I downloaded the app, Thrift Books. I created an account. Let's see. There's a section that says sell your books. I'm going to click on that. It's asking me to sign back in. I don't know why it didn't just save it. This is why things just irritate me so much. It's not saved. Let's put my... All right, I guess I actually did know my username and password. But let's scan. This is Tom Lake. I would imagine they're looking for this one. There we go. Wow. They would give me 67 cents for Tom Lake. I can't imagine what other book that they would want. Let's try Forever by Judy Blume. It says it doesn't recognize it. Let's do an Agatha. They do it with mirrors. They would give me 86 cents for this. All right, I don't think I'm going to be working much with thrift books. Maybe I'm just, those were bad examples. So I don't know. I'll search it up, see what I can find. But they were there and I thought I would check them out, but I have not had any success with them at all so far. So a little bit of update, I left these out because I've been talking to you about them and I don't know that I actually gave you dates. So this time I wanted to give you an actual dates. But the Children of Blood and Bone by Adeyemi, I think that's how you say it. I have talked to you about this book in episodes 7, 8, 9, 10, 45, and 48. It is a West African fantasy legend story of the Orisha trilogy. And the movie, the date that I am adding on there is January 15th of 2027. So you have plenty of time to read it, and you should. I really feel like I maybe listened to the audio and then picked up the book later. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I did. But I wanted to give you that date out there. Update you on that. I need a hair clip. The Richard Bachman book, Anxious People, the film has been cast for that, so wanted to give you an update. He had a new book that came out in maybe May of this summer. He had a new book that came out in June that I just haven't gotten to yet. I think it's called My Friends. But I have talked to you in the past, episodes 18, 20, 32, book club books, episode 51. He is the guy who wrote A Man Called Ove, which last video I talked to you about a trope that I heard about dying old men. And I'm like, oh, what is a trope? I can't even tell you how many books I've read in that trope. That would be a fun one, wouldn't it? If I gave you trope videos. I'm gonna write that down. Trope videos and do the dying old men. That would be a fun one. I know I also have Beartown, and that's always highly recommended to me, so I need to read that one. Just quickly running through some books to movies and dates so that I can get you caught up on those, so that you can get them read before the movies come out. Hoover's Regretting You, October 24th of 2025. And I'll have all these in the show notes if you want to go down there and just copy and paste them to wherever it is that you keep track of these. Stephen King's The Running Man, November of 25. Shelley's Frankenstein, which I've never read, November of 25. Nicholas Sparks is doing a collaboration with Night Shyamalan, which is insane, called Remain, and that is coming out in October 23 of 26. The Hunting Wives is already out there. It's on Netflix, I think. I haven't watched it. It's by Cobb. I haven't read it. Laura Taylor, Nemi, A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow, I think. It's a Reese's young adult pick. Bronte, they're making a new adaptation of Wuthering Heights. That should come out in February of next year, February 13th. Perfect. Ruth Ware's The Woman in Cabin 10 is coming out later, I think this month, so I've really got to get that one read. I've seen a lot of chatter online about that. Weir's Hail Mary is coming out on March 20th of 2026. So that's one that I'm recommending my book club read. I'm pretty sure some of them have read it, but if not, I think we should read it. So next Tuesday, or at Tuesday, my book club will be meeting, so I'll probably do a before and after one on that for books that I'm going to recommend to them, and then I'll let you know what we choose. Colleen Hoover's Verity, May of next year. Emily Henry's People We Meet on Vacation, January of next year. Alice Finney's His and Hers, which I haven't read yet, but is coming out later this year. Remember Kennedy, Elle Kennedy, is that her name, I think, that does the hockey romance. The Deal is in production. Another Colleen Hoover, Reminders of Him, comes out February of next year. McFadden's The Housemaiden. The date on that has been December. It comes out Christmas Day. Like, yeah, let's take the family to go see The Housemaid on Christmas Day. No, don't do that. Unless your family is full of 20-somethings, then maybe. Remarkably Bright Creatures is in post-production. Remember, that's with Sally Field. I mean, I feel like that's been out forever, so come on. We've been watching the series Tracker on television. I think we watch it on Spectrum On Demand. But it is based on The Never Game by Jeffrey Deaver, and I'm not sure I've told you that. I have talked to you about Sarah Bond Brethnick, and I realized I had one more book that I need to put on my TBR and show you. Something More, Excavating Your Authentic Self. This is a really weird shaped book. I'm not really sure what's going on here. But, you know, she wrote that book that I absolutely love. I'm looking over there, and it should be back here. But she wrote that book, Simple Abundance, which I read in my late 20s and absolutely loved it. I've also read Mrs. Sharp's Traditions. I have another book by her called Moving On, and I didn't realize I had this one. I'm not sure what's going on. It says, in this eloquent and evocative book, it encourages you to become an archaeologist of yourself, to plumb your past with its unfilled longings, and find your authentic self. So, I don't know. I'll start reading it and then see what I think. It's got a lot of great quotes in it. Like each little section, like the divine collaboration, opens with a quote, "The universe works with you and for you. It is not your enemy," David Spangler. So I think I'll enjoy it, but I just need to put it on my TBR, and I came across it. In the other room, I have a ladder display system that we used at my son's graduation open house. And after it was done, I'm like, my husband was like, all right, just toss it up, because it was an old ladder with like these slats that he built. And I said, absolutely not. Like, I love it. I understand this is not everybody's taste, but I love it. I'll try and put a picture here for you. But it has all my nonfiction to be read on it. And I go by there and every once in a while I'm like, oh, I've already talked about them. I need to pull them and put them in the other room. I also don't know where this came from, but Diane Watt Davidson's Sweet Revenge. I think it's because I wanted to let you know that if you do watch Hallmark's Goldie Bear collection, the culinary series, The Curious Caterer on Hallmark, it is based off of this book series by Diane Mott Davidson. I've talked to you about her in episode 44 and 45. It's been a long time since I read one of her books, but Dying for Chocolate is the one I think that I read and has been turned into one of the series there. But that one's Sweet Revenge, but that's on my TBR list. All right, let's see why these are laying here. So last video, I highly recommended Tom Lake by Ann Patchett, which when I put it out there on my my social media, the review for it, there is someone that I went to high school with, and she said, yeah, I started reading it, I just couldn't get into it, which I was really surprised. It is a very literary novel, but this girl reads a lot of literary fiction, so that's not the case. It's a really slow moving book, very thoughtful. But I just love it. I highly recommend it. But just throwing that out there that like everybody's tastes are different. I can't believe that it didn't win like more awards, but whatever. But highly recommend it. But when I had borrowed someone's copy, I've got to transfer those notes over to the book that I picked up in Florida on my book haul. This last month, I got to transfer those over by Tuesday. Here's my little flyer for the Columbus Book Festival. I don't know if I showed it to you last time, but they do such a good job in the flyer of telling you, like, here's the map, here's where to park, here are all the exhibitors, here are all the local authors, here's the independent authors, here are all the breakout sessions that we're gonna have, here are all the vendors, bookish vendors. So I'll take a while to make my way through that, but wanted to show you that. Sorry, a friend of mine, they're farmers, and she always has extra corn, and she was telling me there's corn ready if we want to come get some and process. So I was making sure I knew exactly where it was at. Anywho, so just a couple of things. Don't forget that Richard Osman's series, The Thursday Murder Club, is coming to, I think, Netflix this month. I don't have it on here. Don't know why, but I'll double check that and get that on the notes for you. I've been watching the Librarian series. I talked about this in the last video, but it's sitting up here because I'm still watching the series. I'm going to read this and put it back in the free little library. Judy Blume's Forever is on my watch list. Agatha's They Do It With Mirrors. I have to make my annotations. That's why it's sitting up here. These were in my friend's mother's collection. Agatha Christie's Third Girl, Agatha Christie's By the Pricking of My Thumbs, Agatha Christie's A Caribbean Mystery, and Agatha Christie, yeah, that's it. And then this is my next Agatha Christie read, Pocket Full of Rye. Mary Alice Monroe was at the Columbus Book Festival, and I was supposed to read Beach House, but I didn't get to it, so we are shelving that for next year's summer read. Barbara Kingsolver, Unsheltered. See, I've got so much reading I've got to do right now for class for that anxious generation, but I really want to start reading this, and this is one of the Kingsolvers that I have not read. We are discussing Demon Copperhead at book club on Tuesday, and this is a Kingsolver that I haven't read yet, so I'm gonna I'm gonna be home all weekend by myself. I'm so excited. I love running around in the summer and discovering new places and getting to things that I just didn't get to during the school year. But this summer I've not gotten as many days home alone than I normally do. And I like those days from time to time. It's a balance. But I'm after the running around today and getting home at midnight tonight. My husband's going on a fishing trip. The last time he went on a fishing trip, though, he said he would be gone for 4 days, and they came back after 2. So there's that. But they're supposed to be gone all Saturday and Sunday. So we'll see. If so, between Saturday, Sunday, I don't even think Monday I have anything scheduled. My first big thing is Tuesday. I've got a lot of crafting that needs to happen. So that will be maybe some, again, then I don't know why I'm drawn to podcasts more than audiobooks right now. But with my crafting, then I do that, or I turn the TV on and get caught up on series. Like yesterday, what did I watch? I watched a lot of Hidden on Acorn. If you watch that series, it's a very dark mystery series. I like dark mystery series, but I had that on in the background while I was getting some stuff done yesterday. But I've not read Unsheltered by Barbara Kingsolver, and she's one of my completest novels, or my completest authors. I want to read everything she's written. So there's that. Oh, there's the paperwork. I've been looking for this paperwork. The class that I'm taking right now is through Dominican University. I knew I printed out some syllabi, that sort of thing, and I just couldn't find it. And it's all right here. So that's something I have to work on this weekend too, is a lot of that classwork. I'm supposed to be incorporating some of this, which is Jim Burke's Reading Tools, Tips, and Techniques and Reminders, and this 100 Quick Writes by Linda Reef. And then here are the fans that my cousin and I got at the Cincinnati Book Festival. And when I was like, oh, you forgot yours here, I'll mail it to you. She's like, don't mail it to me. She and I both are trying to be minimalists, and we're failing miserably at it, but those are here. So I think I have my one from last year back in my craft room. So there's that. Okay, I know I got some book haul to do, so let me grab those. All right, so I put some book haul stacks up here. If you'll remember the 2 or 3 videos back, I told you my husband and I drove to Arkansas, like school got out on, students' last day was Thursday, teachers had work day on Friday. We left right after the work day on Friday and drove to Arkansas that night. My son was fishing in the Major League Fishing All-American Series. He had qualified for the final day of that, and we just had to be there because, you know, if you win it and we're not there, he's our one and only. So on the way back from that, he did not win it, but he was 6th, I think. But on the way back from that, we stopped in Nashville at McKay's. I've talked to you about McKay's before. It's McKay Books, CDs, Music and More, I think is what it's called, Movies and More, something like that, McKay. It's ridiculously awesome. So I wanted to show you some of the haul that I got from that. And I have them listed more in order than I do that I have the stacks here, but I'm just gonna show them to you this way as I show them real quick, just so you can see what I'm talking about, and I'm getting you an idea of like the prices. So this one was one of those that I just picked up because I'm like, I don't know, I've never heard of it, but I need it. It's Lauren Wilkinson, American Spy. It's a novel. It's got the New York Times Book Review 100 Notable Books of 2019 on it, and it was $1.50. I got another copy of Brandon Sanderson's Steelheart. I've already read and reviewed this for you. I'll check. I always check to make sure. And then if not, I always review it before I put it on my shelf. But it's The Reckoners, Book 1. It was $1.75. And I love this. This is a great book and easy for me to recommend and put in the hands of a kid. I picked up a copy of the Guncle Abroad. I've read The Guncle by Stephen Rowley, and I have a copy of some of his other books, but I don't think I had a copy of this. I paid a lot for this. This was one of those things where I had my cart. We had been in there for over an hour, and I picked it up, and I'm like, oh man, I hate that it's $14.50. And my husband was like, just put it in the cart. Let's go. Like, he was done. So I paid too much for it. But you know, it has, if you buy it new, it's $29. So it's like half price, and it's a hardback, and I know I'm going to want to read it. So there's that. I picked up a copy of this, Primates of Park Avenue, Wednesday Martin. Again, this is another one that I don't know, but it's a memoir, and it looked intriguing, and it was $1.50. So there's that. Arsenic and Adobo, I've tried to read before, and it keeps coming up over and over again. So even though I didn't get through it the first time, I need to read this book. It was $6.50. It's another one that came at the end of the trip when he was like, just buy it. It's the first book in a series. It is a culinary cozy series. It's by Mia Mananasala. So I know I'm going to read it. I picked this up, Getting Old is Criminal. This was $3.95 for a little paperback, but look at it. It looks like it's one of those that I like. It's a Senior Sleuth, Rita Lakin. I have not read anything by T. Kingfisher, and I know I need to. I paid $10 for this. It's a paperback, but number one, I need to read Kingfisher, and then look at that cover. I just had to do it. I paid $14 for this one, and I didn't go in there expecting this. I See You've Called In Dead, a novel by John Kennedy. I couldn't leave it behind. It was $14. Cover price is $27.99. Obituary writer Bud Stanley isn't really living his best life. He's fallen into a funk after his divorce. She's left him for another man, and who, in fairness, was far more interesting. He's not doing his job well. He's given up on dating, and he's about to be fired for accidentally publishing his own obituary one mildly drunken night. Though technically the company can't legally fire a dead person. As Bud awaits his fate at work, he does the only logical thing. He goes to the wakes and funerals of total strangers to learn to live again. I couldn't leave it on the shelf. I couldn't. Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places by Claire Kahn. I don't know this series, but it's a beautiful cover. $8.50. So, I'm all over the place here. I went in to look for Agatha's and Fletcher's and a few things that were on my list of like books that I can't seem to find around here. And I ended up with some that I probably shouldn't have. There's that. $16. It covers at $28.99. It's The Moonflower Murders by Anthony Horowitz. I love Anthony Horowitz. I love the series, the Magpie Murder series. I love to read them. I love to watch them. I know they're going to be turned into adaptations, and I want to read it before that. I picked up another copy of a Monk mystery. This one is Mr. Monk and the Dirty Cop. It was $3.50. I haven't read any of these yet, but I know I have the one where Mr. Monk goes to Hawaii, and I know I love the series. And I love books that are based on series or series that are based on books. So pick that one up. All right, these I think, no, let me continue because it looks like they're right here. So here's more McKay books, CDs, movies, and more. I paid $6.75 for 3-act tragedy, but I knew I needed it. I keep a list of the ones I have and the ones I want. A little free bookmark in there. It looks like at McKay Books and CDs, we spent, and by we I mean me, $178.51. So $162.65 on 26 items, and $15 in taxes. So there's that. And I mean, again, I get to go, I've only gone twice in the last couple of years. We used to go to a McKay's in Knoxville, I think. But I'm just not in that area anymore. It's where I went to college, but I'm not in that area anymore. It's lovely. I mean, if you're anywhere near there and you can just take a road trip, or you're not near there and you just want something fun to go to, it's that. Now you'd have to mail your books home or just have that for your suitcase. I don't know. But it was awesome. So I picked up that one. I picked up some Fletcher's, $2.95 for Murder on the Powderhorn Ranch. I haven't read any Fletcher's this summer. It just got too crazy. I was reading a lot of summer stuff. Trigger Treachery, $4.75. Highland Fling Murders, $1.95. Knock 'em Dead, $2.95. That looks like all the Fletchers. Death Takes Priority, a Postmistress mystery. It's first in the series by Jen Flowers. It was $3.50. I had heard of it and just saw it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get it. All right, this is another thing where it's just dangerous for me to go into a bookstore. I don't know this series, but these were all there. And look at them. Uh-oh, please don't fall. Don't fall. There we go. Book 2, book 1. Okay, book 1 is Wolf Gone Wild. Look at that book. And they were $6. The second book, Don't Hex and Drive. Stay a Spell, book 2, $5.50. And then there is no book 3. Book 6, Grimm and Barrett. And then book 4, Always Practice Safe Hex. I don't know if I'm going to like them or not, but look at them. They're beautiful. So I'm hoping I do. I'm hoping I do. God, I mean, they're beautifully done. This is one of those things, like you buy books to read, I want to read them, but sometimes they're just so beautiful, I have to just buy them. They're beautiful. Look down here at the bottom. Can you see that? They've got like a little sign on each of them, little symbol. Lovely. I think this is it. Didn't plan on buying this one, but couldn't leave it behind. George, a Magpie memoir, $2, Frida Hughes. Todd May, A Significant Life, Human Meaning in a Silent Universe, $3. I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I have a copy of this. I listened to the podcast. I bought an extra copy to share with a friend. Ramit Sahithi, A Healthy State of Panic. Picked it up, couldn't leave it there. Follow Your Heart to Build Wealth, Crush, is it Your Heart? I think so. Crush Your Career and Win at Life, $14. It's Farnoosh Torabi, who I've listened to her speak. I think it's her, pretty sure. Yes. I've listened to her a lot. She's an Iranian American journalist. She's been in the Oprah magazine. She hosts the podcast Money. She's on NPR a lot. I knew the name and I'm like, I need to read more about finance. I do. How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Attention Economy, $7.60 for a paperback, a little much, but it's beautiful. And you can tell what I want to read about. How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Attention Economy. There's all kinds of things there. Okay, yeah, so that is my haul from McKay's. So let me move those, and then I have a couple more little hauls, and then I'll get you out of here. I've been filming for an hour and 43 minutes, but not really. I took a break to go change over the laundry. I took a break to put my hair up. I took a break to let Stella out and in. So not really, right? All right, these are from my Florida trip to my cousin's back in early June. I just haven't had a chance to get them to you. But we talked quite a bit about this. It's the Best American Mystery Stories. This one is Louise Penny is the editor, which again, I will read everything by her. This is the 2018 edition, but really the name that we were looking for was this. Otto Penzler, series editor. He's a two-time Edgar-winning mystery editor, publisher, columnist, and he is the owner of the New York's The Mysterious Bookshop, which we're literally gonna go to New York just to go to that bookshop, Deb. The oldest and largest bookstore solely dedicated to mystery fiction. He has edited more than 60 crime fiction anthologies, and that's what this is. It was $3. I bought this, I think, at the Goodwill bookstore down in Florida, Venice Beach, maybe. I think this came from either, if not there, then just thrifting in Florida, maybe. We Were Liars, Family of Liars. We Were Liars is the excellent book by E. Lockhart. Highly recommend it to everyone. They turned it into a series. No, I haven't watched it yet because I am very excited when they turn books into movies or series, and then I take forever to then actually watch them. Please don't screw it up. But Family of Liars. Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. This one looks like it did come from that bookstore, the Goodwill bookstore, $2.99 trade book. Tom Lake came from Florida. Must be this stack here. Yep. $3.99, Catherine Stedman, The Family Game, a novel. This is Book of the Month, so I'm gonna go on that. See my little thingy here. Book of the Month. Agatha Christie, $3.99. This is the Janet Morgan biography. We are still reading the autobiography in my Agatha's group, but we will get to the biography. I don't know what this is, but again, it's another one that I picked up and I'm like, it just looks so good. Because I Said I Would by Alex Sheen. A Single Promise Can Change a Life Forever. It's a beautiful book, like it's got pictures, personal stories. I like those little personal stories ones. So pick that one up. Province to Die For. Murder, She Wrote, Jessica Fletcher, $2.99. Another copy of this just because I love it and it's easy for me to give away or put on the classroom shelf. We Always Do Truman Capote's The Thanksgiving Visitor. This has A Christmas Memory and One Christmas in it. 3 short stories. Deb's gonna put these on the Sunday short story one. I've already read all 3 of those, but I would like to reread them. I bought a Ray Bradbury, Autumn People. So anything seasonal, you want to throw in an author I know. Ray Bradbury, Halloween Tree, Something Wicked This Way Comes. I'm going to read it. Picked up another Nick Petrie. We met him last year at the Columbus Book Festival, and I've wanted to read more of his books. This is Burning Bright. And like I said earlier, I am now the proud curator of a Little Free Library. Check them out online, littlefreelibrary.org. It is right across the way and down just a tad. I can see it from my front door. Just had its grand opening yesterday, but I often visit Little Free Libraries. I have, it started out as a bag, now it's a box and a bag of books in my trunk. So that when I'm driving or my husband is driving and I see one, we stop, restock, and then occasionally take something from there in exchange. And so I have a couple of those. I visited Little Free Libraries in Hyde Park, at the Goshen Grind Coffee House, and our one here in Fayetteville, and the Lake Lorelei one, I think. I'm not sure which ones I got something from, but I try and always put them on there that, hey, these are the ones I saw. But I got an Ann Patchett copy of The Dutch House. It doesn't have the cover, but I just want to read this book, so it doesn't really matter. This is one that I've heard the audio is really good too, The Dutch House. I want to say Tom Hanks maybe is the narrator, and it's on my TBR. Romeo and Julio by Sharon Draper. That'll be one for the classroom. We love Sharon Draper. The Boxcar Children. This is one that I've never actually read, so I picked it up so that I could read it. I've never read a Boxcar Children one. And then I figured after that I could put it back in a free little library. Now I have my own I can put it in. But that'll be a nice children's one because, again, I've just never read that, and it'll be a good quick read. This one, it is The Best American Non-Required Reading 2014, edited by Daniel Handler, who is the Lemony Snicket guy. So I thought that one was just intriguing. Picked that one up. Liv Constantine's The Senator's Wife looked really intriguing. I think that was it for my Little Free Library trades. I stopped by Half Price Books in Kenwood looking for Agatha's, and I ended up with some, which was good. Great mysteries. Of course, I then got other things that I wasn't expecting. I got this, paid $3 for it. That's nothing, right? A Treasury of Great Mysteries, Volume 1. But, I mean, look at the spine. That's why I was like, I gotta get it. And then when I opened it up, it had good names in it. Agatha Christie's the first one, Murder in the Callous Coach, Edgar Wallace, John Carr, Ellery Queen. I mean, another great short story collection on my TBR. So Deb, we can do this for the next probably century and I won't get through all my short stories. I also picked up these two, $5 for Murder in the Callous Coach, which I don't know if I have a copy of that one or not, but I thought it was too good to pass up. And for $2.99, Hercule Poirot's Christmas, which I did not have a copy of. So right here, Half Price Books, I spent a total of $10.99. Really? $10.99? Okay. So I think I can handle it. I popped into the St. Vincent de Paul down in Milford, and they had several Christies. I got The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, which I already have a copy of, but I thought I will put it in a free little library. And Ordeal by Innocence, which I think I also had a copy of that, but I can't pass them up. At St. Vincent, paperbacks are like $1. So I can't pass those up to either put them in the classroom or put them in a free little library or just pass them on. I thought I had one more. Yeah, Sleeping Murder. There you go. Which is Miss Marple's last case. We've not read that because we haven't read enough Miss Marple yet. I also there picked up a copy of Bloodwork. The cover was kind of messed up, but so I just put it in the center. But that's one that I'm pretty sure I've talked to you about. Michael Conley. I love it. I love it, love it. So it'll be a great one to put in the classroom. Another copy by Sharon Draper. This is Forged by Fire. This is St. Vincent de Paul. Okay, so in books I spent $3. I also bought a Lily Pulitzer fabric. It may be a tablecloth. It may be a beach towel. All right. Currently, my dad had surgery in early June, and he's not allowed to do any manual labor at all, which means no mowing his lawn, which is just awful for him. And then my husband's dad has been in very poor health for since COVID. He had an accident, and it's just awful. So he had an accident early in the summer also. And so neither of them can mow their own lawn. So that was my husband. He was getting out of the job site that they was working his second job today, and he was going to run and mow his parents' yard and needed to know if my parents need their yard mowed and then our yard. So his parents probably have the most property, but we have quite a bit here too. Even though we're in a lake, we own 3 separate lots all connected. So it's a big area and not easy to just mow. So there's that. And then his parents live out in the country, and it's ridiculousness. But my parents luckily live on a cul-de-sac, have a 1/4 acre lot or something. So we're just trying to figure all that out. Fun stuff. Sidebar. So I picked up another copy of Lone Survivor. This is one I know I've talked to you about before. Highly recommend it. Super good. Did make a movie out of it. And it's another one that I'd like to have multiple copies in the classroom. I'm sorry if you can hear my dryer. Something obviously is getting turned around in there, but I don't have time to go up and do that. Looks like I picked this up in a little library, but I don't know where. Dead is Just a Rumor by Marlene Perez. I think both of these came out of my friend's mom's collection. The Omnibus of Crime, edited by Dorothy L. Sayers. How fun is that? And Nago Marsh, False Scent, Scales of Justice, Singing in the Shrouds. It's got 3 books by Nago Marsh. So both of those came out of, I think, her collection. Okay, so those are the books since the last time I've talked to you, which this video nicely is my July reading. Adding the one from last month that I talked to you about, but I read during the month of July. The A Perfectly Kept House is A Sign of a Misspent Life, plus all the ones I talked to you about today, plus updating you on books that are becoming movies or adaptations with some dates, and those will be in the show notes below, plus some bookish things, lots of book chatter, and then a big book haul from Florida, where we do lots of thrifting, and McKay used books in Nashville, Tennessee. So I think that catches you up on everything. I'm so glad you got to spend the morning here with me in my library at home. I love sharing it with you, and I love the bookish chatter. I will be doing a separate video on the opening of the free little library to give you the story on that, but not today. And I was planning on filming the Agatha video today, so that's not going to happen. So I guess I'll do that tomorrow morning maybe, to get my Agathas up on the shelf, the ones that I've already read. But I want to talk to you about Agatha too, and I'm not sure what all I want to put in there. So if you have requests, I'd love to hear them. But I'll be making that video soon. I'm happy to be your friendly librarian. Like, subscribe, follow along. Love to hear from you in the comments. All the books that I reviewed here are available free at your public library. Most of my books are thrifted or secondhand. Let's be social. Comment, email, message me. Let me know what it is that you're enjoying, what you're looking for, what you're reading. I'd love to hear any of it. Keep in touch, folks. Enjoy.